to 5678,
Woo!
a movie musical podcast. Stumbled over those words. A movie musical podcast.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're doing this. We recorded an episode of a very long movie and split it into two. So this is part 2
Woo!
of
Fiddler on the Roof. It should just go straight into it because we recorded in one big long chunk. So enjoy.
Ka-chow. You know, the famous catchphrase from Fiddler on the Roof.
Ka-chow.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
All right, Act 2. This is when it gets serious.
Bad.
This was my second VHS tape, and I didn't watch it as often because it was sad.
Oh, you mean like how for Into the Woods Jr. they got rid of Act 2?
Or like that one person who stopped Sound of Music after the wedding. They're like, I don't need the sad parts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't need the sad. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Time has passed.
Yes.
It's fall now. And we were definitely in like late spring, early summer in Act 1. Tevye, our narrator, gives us an update of just like how the family is doing. Model and Seidel are dirt poor, but so happy.
They're so happy that they don't know that they should be sad at how poor they are.
Yeah. Hodel and we next see Hodel and Perchik talking.
Walking by the river.
Walking by the river and talking. Perchik is saying he's going to be leaving for Kiev tomorrow because the revolution needs him. Like, things are picking up.
Yes.
And he needs to be back essentially in action.
And this is a man who
he's like
has to experience his emotions through the lens of like intelligence and can't just feel his own emotions.
Oh. I'm not saying Perchik's a Capricorn, but the signs are there. Where he's like, I hope you understand. It's like, okay if you never want to see me again.
This is my chance to make a change.
But
it's important to me. It's like what my life is meant for.
Yeah. And Hodel's like, no. I like you. He's like, okay, cool. Because I was thinking we could get married, but also like you have to understand, like, it's a political thing.
He's like, well, she's like, I'm very sad about this. And he's like, well, I have a political question for you. And she's like, what? And he's like, sometimes when two people need to combine things, and it's important that marriage can sometimes be, and she's like, marriage is a political question? He's like, everything's political.
Everything's political. And he's so funny because he's like, it's so political. It'll be a political understanding. She goes, and there's also affection.
And affection. And he's like, well, yes. And he tries to talk his way through his feelings. And she's like, hey, let's say this out loud. How do you feel about me? Are you asking me to marry you? And he's like, yeah, I am. And she's like, that's what I thought. And so he proposes and admits that he loves her, but he is still going and says that he will send for her as soon as he can. And they go to talk to Tevye.
Yeah, they go and they're walking down the road and they're walking arm in arm when Tevye is coming from the opposite direction and they like bump into each other as much as you can bump into somebody in like an open road with miles on either end that you can see them coming. And they kind of just get right to it.
Yeah. Perchik tells him that he's leaving. And he's like, well, I am very sad. And he's like, but also I am going to marry Hodel. And we are in love and we want to marry each other. And he's like, I don't give my permission. And that's when Perchik and Hodel are like, hey, we're not asking for your permission. We're asking for your blessing.
Just your blessing.
This is going to happen whether you give us permission or not. And we get another break.
And then we get another soliloquy. Yeah, another soliloquy where Tevye's like, holy shit, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, I got like, dear God, what is the world coming to where children don't ask their father for permission?
And like making a match without a matchmaker. And then there are a couple of things that he says where I'm just like, hell yeah. And like, again, this is like the next daughter, the next step of change of just like, before they were asking for permission and now they are no longer asking for permission.
Yeah.
But he
Marvel
is
and
still,
Seitel asked for
he is still
permission.
Jewish and he is still a part of the faith. But Tevye during this soliloquy is like, well, I guess the old ways were new once too. And I guess, like, they say they love each other. I guess God is their matchmaker. And, like, it's just such a way of him working himself to being okay with this, but also a beautiful way to look at it, where it's like, I mean, everything was new once, and they say they love each other, and what is love but God saying that these two people should be together? And so he comes out of it, and he was like, I give you my blessing and my permission.
Yes. And Perchik suggests to Tevye, and Tevye's immediately like, fuck, what am I going to tell your mother? And Perchik suggests, like, you could tell her that I'm going to visit my rich uncle.
And he's like,
and
I know how to
that
handle
will
my own wife.
win her
Cut
over.
to him using
My
that
wife,
exact
yes.
excuse.
Using that exact. But he does it in the funniest way where he gets home and this is when he comes into the kitchen. They're talking about something. He's like, oh, and by the way, Perchik and Hodel are gonna get married. I give them my blessing.
Goodbye.
Just to run out the door. And Golda's like, what?
So, but then there's such a
You didn't ask
sweet
me?
song. And again, talking about, like, there's so many love songs in this show.
There's so many love
Where
songs.
Tevye is like, well, they love each other. And he says, love, it's the new style. And then he turns to Golda and he's like, hey, we had an arranged marriage. I met you on our wedding day. After all these years, my father told me that we would learn to love each other. So my question is, do you love me?
Do you love me?
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's a lovely duet. And you see Golda very similar to Perchik, like talking through her feelings of this and trying to understand it.
And
She's
it's like after 25
I've lived with you for
years.
25 years. I've given you 5 children. I've kept your house. I've cooked your meals.
Yeah.
I've washed your clothes. What's love got to do with
yeah.
it? But also, like, love
he
has
keeps
found its way in through
He's
an
like,
open
yes, all of
window.
that is true, but Golda, do you love me? And she's like, after all these years, I guess I do. And then at the final moment is them sitting side by side on a bed, like kind of just shoulders touching. And they have a line where they sing together for the first time, which is, it doesn't change a thing, but after 25 years, it's nice to know. And I cried.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's such a
it's a really
beautiful
quiet
moment.
love, but it's really beautiful. Not that they're quiet people. They're
Cut to
both very
Kiev.
loud people.
No. Cut to Kiev.
Yes.
We see Perchik giving a speech outside a factory, kind of rallying
Big
the
Les
factory
Mis energy.
workers who are big Les Mis energy. You are the people. You are the barricade. Listen to this.
Pretty much. There's a flag waving.
Yeah. There's a flag waving. There's a bunch of demonstrators there, but Perchik is the one giving the speech, like raising support, like workers, we must stand together. Yes. And then trot, trot, trot around the corner comes horse police who draw their swords.
Not the horse cops.
And the crowd, the horse cops show up with their swords, with their sabers, and the crowd scatters and Perchik is apprehended.
Yes. Back in Anatevka.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
it's not funny. I'm laughing at something funny in this next scene with Yenta.
God, I love Yenta. She's so funny. So back in Anatevka, Yenta and Teitel are in the main square. I think there's like a well in there. So Zeitel's grabbing water or something.
It's also winter by now. Everyone's bundled up for winter. Yes. This is important for later. But Yenta comes up to Teitel and she, in her classic Yenta, like it takes her 5 minutes to get to the point, tells Teitel, like, oh, also I was at the post office earlier and there was a letter for Hodel there because Hodel is still living at home. engaged to Perchik,
Yes.
who will send for her. And she hasn't really heard much from him because it's 1905 and male. But Yente's like, oh, there was a letter for him. And Seidel says, oh, great, I will tell Hodel to go get it. And Yente's like, oh, I did you the liberty. I picked it up for you. Here it is. And she gives Seidel an open envelope. And Seidel's like,
it's open.
It's open already, implying that Yente read the letter. And Yente's like, it was open when I got it.
And she wanders off. So we then get the news that Perchik has been arrested. And we cut to a train station.
This is, talk about tragic.
This is
a rural, remote train station with Hodel and Tevye and their horse-drawn carriage waiting for a train. And it's in the scene where we learn that Perchik has been sent to essentially like a work camp
in Siberia.
Or is it a work camp?
He's been exiled.
It's a settlement, and I don't know. He's been exiled.
And he is in prison.
To Siberia.
But Hodel is going to join him there. And so this is the scene. I was talking to Anna about this earlier, but you had cars running past you, and so you couldn't hear what I was saying. So
sorry, when you said I was talking to Anna earlier, I assumed you misspoke and were talking to somebody else because you're telling to our listeners.
I'm telling the listener,
Got
yes.
it. Yeah, no, I couldn't hear. It was 12:30 at night and I was trying to get home.
You were trying to get home. So this is the song that I think I had the biggest shift in emotion about, where like, again, I only had this on VHS tape, and we got rid of our VHS TV like when I was like 13. So I straight up have not watched this movie since I was an early teenager. And I remember watching this scene and just it not really hitting for me. And then watching this again 20 years later as a whole ass adult with a bunch more life experience and weeping so hard I had to pause the movie. Like, this particular song really hit me because as someone who has had to have goodbyes, not knowing if I'll see someone again, and like leaving a home and a family and a community to go and do something that I'm passionate about, it really fucking punched me in the face. And I'm tearing up thinking about it now.
This is the song Far From the Home I Love, which is preluded by Tevye saying to Hodel, like, I can't believe he's asking you to go all the way to Siberia for him. And she's like,
he didn't ask.
He's not asking me. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to go and be with him.
Yeah. And
she's never left home before.
She's never left home.
And she doesn't know when she will see her family again.
Or if.
And so it's her heartbreak of knowing this is the right path, but having to say goodbye to everything she's ever known. Yeah.
And it's a goodbye that feels final. And I think that's what like really punched me.
Yeah. And I mean, it's 1905. We didn't have shit.
Nah.
Ugh, it's so sad.
Yeah.
And the train arrives, and Tevye puts his second eldest daughter on the train.
And she's gone.
And she leaves.
Ugh.
And I turn the page.
Yeah, that scene really killed me. And yeah, it was a very different feeling as an adult.
Yeah, I can very much see that song not doing much emotional
for a
damage
13-year-old who's just like
13. Okay, this is a pretty song.
Never said a goodbye that felt final, never had to deal with a death in the family. Like,
Sweet Summer
Child, literally.
Cut to a meeting of some of the men in town.
And the rabbi. In the temple.
Yeah, in the temple. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word for temple.
So
I was
fine.
like, it's not a chapel.
It's not.
It's not. And the rabbi's meeting with some of the men, and they're talking about just like changes to like some laws and stuff. And then the single man in town who gets the newspaper runs in being like, I've got bad news. And they're like, this fucking guy.
And he's like, I just read it. But the rabbi stops him and asks him for some good news. Yeah. and someone comes running in and is like, there's a new arrival at Modelin's Idols, and everyone's like, amazing, very much intimating that it's a baby.
A baby. And my brain, who hasn't seen this musical in a really long time, I was like, oh, they had a baby. No. His model sewing machine has arrived.
It's a sewing machine. Also, they had a baby, but that's secondary.
Oh, they also had a baby like months ago.
But that baby is like a couple months old at this point. Anyway, so it's a whole deal. Everyone comes to see. He's showing people how it works. And he's like, no more handmade clothes with this. I can make clothes faster and better. And we will like, this is such an opening of a door for us. And it's like a big step for him, which is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's something he's been saving up for. Like it's a step in a new direction for them.
Cut outside.
So and there's a funny moment where I think the model says, like, when the rabbi comes to visit, he's like, Rabbi, is there a blessing for a sewing machine? And the rabbi's like, yeah, there's a blessing for everything.
Yeah.
Cut to outside.
There was a moment.
Still deep
Those
winter.
blessings from the rabbi are so funny because they have a bunch of them throughout. The one that I think of is at the very beginning when there's like, is there a blessing for the Tsar? And he's like, God love and keep him far away from us.
So far
so
away
funny.
from us. So it's still like deep winter.
Yes.
In the town square, outside where Motel and Hodel are, we see Chava and Fiedka, like, kind of rubbing noses. Like, they are, R, romantic, but they're hiding it.
Yes.
Because Fiedka's not Jewish, and Fiedka wants to ask Tevye for permission to marry Chava.
Yeah.
And Chava's like, that's not going to end well. I'll talk to him. You have to let me talk to him.
Yes.
So Tevye arrives in the town square, like going to go see the sewing machine, and Chava comes up to him. He's like, "Hey, before that, can we talk about this? I want to talk to you about."
Fiedka at first tries to talk to him, but Tevye is not interested in speaking with him, and so eventually Fiedka backs off and leaves.
Yeah. And Chava says, like, Fiedka and I have gotten really close, and Tevye's like, "Okay, but that's not good."
Yeah. That's like, I would prefer if you were not, like, if you...
I would prefer it if you did not.
Yeah. And it's at...
like, shutting down any kind of hope for Chava.
And at that point, Chava's like, I want to...
And this is because Fiedka's not Jewish.
Yes, 100%. Well, and especially because with the demonstration, the pogrom...
the pogroms.
There's a stronger rift between the people of the Russian Orthodox faith and the Jewish people. But it's not just the faith. It's the Russians that are not a part of their community.
Tevye thinks he's protecting his family.
He sees as the others that are hurting his community.
But Chava stands her ground. She's like, we want to be married. Mm-hmm. Like, we are in love. And Tevye straight up forbids it. Do not speak with him again. Doesn't even try. Just speak to him. Do not see him again. Like, we'll lock Chava in the house if he has to stop this, because this is too far. This is his line in the sand.
Yes, his line in the sand is someone outside of the faith.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, then the funniest thing happens.
The funniest thing in the world happens, where he has been pushed so hard on his traditions and like what he believes in, who the man of the house is supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And he really feels the need to reestablish a little bit of his position.
He has a bit of a hissy fit.
Yeah, he throws a hissy fit. And so, like, Golda and a couple of the other girls, like, come out of Tevye's tailor shop and is like, we're going back. We need to go to the Sabbath.
Not Tevye, Motel.
Sorry, come out of Motel's tailor shop. And it's like, we have to go back to the Sabbath. He's like, I want to see the sewing machine. It's like, it's closed. Like, we'll come back tomorrow. And then
I'm the man of the house, and I want to see the sewing machine. I am the one that makes the decisions in this family. He opens a door, pokes his head in, immediately takes it out. It's just like, now we can go home.
I've seen it. Now we can go. It's just like so funny.
So funny. And then we get a real jump scare of like, I'm sorry, like like just some real scary Jesuses.
Yeah.
In this Russian Orthodox church.
Yeah, we cut to a church and we see Golda with
Golda.
a scarf over her head, kind of. One, it's a part of her faith to like cover their head, but like also to kind of hide herself, going in through the back of this church.
Yeah, and one of the priests comes up to her he's like, are you lost? Like, what? Why are you here? You can't be here. Yeah. And she's like, I need to talk to your, and she thinks of the word for rabbi, but she doesn't, and it's Reverend Father. Yeah. But she asks to speak to the Reverend Father, and at first the other priest or vicar or whatever he is like, what would you possibly want with the Reverend Father? And she's like, please, it's important. Yes. And the Reverend Father meets with her, and we don't get to hear their conversation.
No. And then we cut. God. And then I just cry for the rest of the movie. So.
Yeah.
And Anna's in a public train for the rest of this movie.
No, I didn't. It's truly like the last 15 minutes I watched on the train. But Golda goes home to deliver the news to Tevye that I think he asked, like, have you seen Hava? And she says, I know where Hava is. She and Fiedka eloped this. Oh no, wait, sorry, hang on. This doesn't take place at home.
No, it's on the road. She runs up to him on the road. She runs into
Tevye on the road.
And
that's right. She's running down the road like, Tevye. Yeah.
And she says,
she runs up to him on the road.
Hava and Fiedka have eloped. And he pauses and then says, go home. You have work to do. She is dead to us.
We have other children at home.
Yeah.
Like, Hava is dead to us. And does Golda even try to argue with him?
I think she does a little bit, not a lot, but again, she's also deeply steeped in the traditions of their life, and she tries to talk to him a little bit, and he puts his foot down and sends her home, and she goes home, and then we get the Chavala sequence.
Yeah, Little Bird, Little Havala is the song. That's a little, it's a very similar melody and moment of Sunrise, Sunset, where they're like, when did they grow up so fast?
Yes.
When did Hava become a woman who wants to marry someone and it's going to be so sad without her?
And we see, like, in silhouette dancing, like, the three eldest daughters, and slowly, one by one, each of them leaving, one, like, Seidel with Model and Hodel with Perchek. And then we see a moment of Chava kind of choosing between her family and her love, and then eventually running away with this is all in silhouette on, like, a hillside with, like, a sunset behind them, and eventually running away. And it's just so devastating.
Yeah. And the song ends, and suddenly Hava is there on the road in front of Tevye. And she's like, I've been looking for you everywhere. I want to speak with you.
Yeah. But he won't speak with her. He won't even look at her. And it's
because she went too far.
She went too far.
It's not that she
we
didn't
get, like,
ask
I
his
think we
permission,
get one final
ask his blessing.
soliloquy moment of her alone, like, because in these soliloquies, the people that he's talking about are always, like, suddenly, like, 40 feet away from him, like, they're far away in the distance as he has the soliloquy, and and before it was like Motto with Seidel, it was Perchik with Hodel, and now it's Chava by herself because Fiedka like didn't come with her, and I think it's because she told him not to be honest. But it's his daughter by herself, and he is trying to talk himself into it and can't do it, and says no and walks away from her. And I cried.
It's tragic. He walks away from his daughter. Yeah. Essentially, like, saying, like, you're not part of my family anymore.
Cut to the main, and team, it gets worse. So we cut to the main part of the town of Anatevka. And there are more and more rumors of Russians expelling Jews from their villages. And the constable arrives.
it's a moment where, like, Tevye's there and a bunch of people there, like the rabbi's there and the guy with the newspaper's there. He's like, I have more bad news. And everyone's like, no, you're crazy. That couldn't happen here. Like, that's happening in other places, but it's not going to happen here. And then the constable arrives.
Yeah.
You're right. And he goes, I have an edict.
How long will it take you to sell your houses and everything you own and get out? And it's like,
excuse me, what?
he's like, you have 3 days.
And at first, yeah. And he delivers this edict. Like, it's a written edict that they have to sell their houses and leave Anatevka in 3 days if you are Jewish. and
he even says, like, I thought that you might be exempt because your daughter's new marriage. And he says, my daughter's dead. And he's like, okay. And it's...
And Tevye asks, like, well, what will he, like, what if we refuse? And the constable says, like, then the army will force you from your homes.
Yes.
Like, there will be violence and there will be death.
God, this corner of the world has always been ours. Why should we leave? You have known us all your life and you would carry out this order? Ugh.
Orders are, and he says, like, orders are orders.
Yeah, he's like, what am I, like, if I don't do it, someone else will. And again, bad logic, but... Ugh.
Yeah. We skipped the very, very brief, not important scene where Yenta brings 2 preteen boys.
Oh, right.
As, like, potential
I didn't even
matches
write that down because it wasn't important.
No, it's not important at all. But then we get our last song, essentially.
Kind of, yeah.
Which is...
Well, they turn to the rabbi to ask what they should do, and the rabbi tells everyone to start packing. Like, because they're like, should we defend ourselves? Should we defend our land? And the rabbi tells them to pack.
Yeah. We get the song Anatevka.
It's so visually striking.
Yeah.
It's so visually...
Of everyone just packing up their lives.
And, like, just standing there. Like, it's such a good representation of, like, shock and, like... That moment when you get bad news and you're just standing there and you just don't know what to do. Like, getting started is the hardest step, and it's just people standing in their homes or in the center of the town square.
Like, how do you pack up your life in 3 days when you have been, when your family
has been here,
has been in this place for generations?
And at first they reminisce about, like, Anatevka, what is this place? You know, it's a chair, it's a furnace, it's a table. It's what is this? It's not a lot when you look at it, but in the singing of the song, it's the recognition that the community is greater than the sum of its parts. That yes, when you look at things individually, it may not seem like much, but through their community, they were able to build something beautiful, and that's being taken away.
Yeah, it's not just the houses and the land. It's that this community is now not going to exist anymore. Everyone is scattering to the 4 winds because they weren't being moved somewhere. They were just being told to kick rocks and leave. And so everyone figures something else out. And through this song, we learn, like, as everyone, because they live on the main road.
God,
like,
there was one lyric that just killed me. I'm so sorry. But it was the lyric, and I can't remember what it specifically was, but basically them saying, for the first time in my life, I'm going to be a stranger. And I was like, that fucking is... Like, for someone who has lived in a place where for your entire life you've known everyone you see, and for the first time in your life, you're going to be a stranger, that's just devastating. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. So the family's house is kind of on the main road out of town. So as they are packing all of their belongings into their wagon, it's a parade, a progression of everyone leaving town. And we get little updates of Yenta has always said she wanted to go to the Promised Land. She's going to Jerusalem. Laser Wolf is going to Chicago.
Yeah.
Tevye and his family are going to New York because that's where
Golda's brother is. Yeah, or Golda's uncle or something like that.
There. Yeah. And it doesn't Seitel and Motel walk by with their baby and their sewing machine on the cart. And I don't remember where they said they were going, but, like, this is a family.
I think they're going to Poland. Like,
oh yes,
yeah,
yes, they're going to Poland. You're right.
Yeah.
Krakow. They're going to Krakow.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Hava and Fedka are there. And they're leaving as well, even though Fedka could have stayed.
Mm-hmm.
They're like,
they could have stayed.
Fedka's like, I won't stay in a place that would do this to people.
Yeah.
And Tevye won't look at Hava, won't talk to her. And there's this heartbreaking moment where, like, not only is Tevye not speaking to Hava, but because he is not permitting, like, the rest of his family to speak with her.
Yeah.
So there's a moment where they're all in the yard and Tevye is kind of in between Hava and her mother and her 2 younger siblings and Saital.
Yeah.
And because he's not speaking to Hava, none of the other women feel like they can say anything to them. So there's just this space, this distance in between them. And you see Hava's heart just breaking all over again.
God. And he's just packing up their thing, just like not looking at her until eventually Hava is like, decides that, you know, she can't just keep asking for something that he's not going to give. And so says that she loves them and wishes them luck and goes to leave.
Wishes them luck,
and it's at that point that Seitel breaks tradition yet again and yells to Hava where they will be and wishes,
and God be with you.
And wishes them good luck. And then Tevye reminds her, and God be with you. And Seitel is then able to pass that on. And it's the only way that Tevye feels that he can pass that message on through someone else. And I wept again.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the family packs up and
we see the whole village
their home
walking and
these
through
like
mud.
long wide shots, mud and snow and over bridges to a fork in the road
with soldiers on horseback behind them.
Yeah.
And at the very end we see Tevye pulling the
wide
cart
profile shot,
and he hears a little music behind him, and he turns around and he sees the fiddler play dun, 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 and then stop, and Tevye nods at him and says, and like basically gestures for him to come with them, basically saying in my reading that he'll bring his traditions with him wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And
like there will be a space for you.
And he walks off with the fiddler playing behind him. And I cried.
Yeah.
And that's Act 2.
It's such a beautiful movie. It's such a beautiful movie.
And like beyond the story itself, because I mean obviously the musical is incredible, but I thought that this version of this story, this movie, was very well done.
Oh my God.
Sad but hopeful, but the hope is really light in this one. I can't.
It had been a long time since I had seen this.
Since I was 13. Like,
yeah.
Like, I've listened to the music every now and then. Like, I have a couple of songs that are in a couple of playlists that pop up. But, like, sat down and watched this start to finish. 20 years. We're both, like, very emotionally shell-shocked right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get a glass of wine and then we can do some dramaturgy.
Anna, what'd you think of this movie?
I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful and tragic and worth 3 hours, which is not something I say lightly.
Not often, but
no, as a professional hater of long movies.
Hey man, as a lover of a tight 90, there are some stories that not only deserve but like earn 3 hours. And you know, even with the songs like the Sabbath prayer song that didn't necessarily add to the plot, the tone, it just added so much depth to the tapestry of this story that it just felt so earned.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's always touring. I'm so glad that there has been, for at least the last 10 years, always an opportunity of some form or another to see this on tour. I would really have liked to have seen the all Yiddish production that Joel Grey directed. I think that's still touring in the States. This is it's such a good show. And I think this movie really did it justice.
Agreed. Very much agreed. And I think it's an important story, and it's
incredible.
Unfortunate that there are themes within this that are still relevant today. Very much like ragtime being out again right now. It's like, wow, does this just really pull into clarity a lot of things that's happening at this moment?
Like, I wish it wasn't so relevant.
Yes. Yeah, I also loved this movie. I was thinking about
you were really looking forward to this one.
I was very much looking forward to this because I hadn't seen it in so long, and I remember loving it. And there are moments of this movie that just live in my brain rent free, and I like have such a clear visual of it in my mind. A lot of times there's some things that I'm like, there's certain things that like will stick in my mind, like a particular sound. I have like a very auditory memory bank, and so like I have a lot of just like audio that just lives in my head, and there very rarely is there a visual that like lives in my head, and there were a few from this movie that just crystal clear in my mind. Locked. Yeah.
Shall we do some dramaturgy?
I think we
for this
should.
fucking phenomenal film.
Hell yeah.
Dramaturgy report. It is 7:00 at night. I am drinking a white wine.
It is 11 a.m. in the morning, and I am drinking a San Pellegrino.
Hell yeah. All right. We have seen both this director and the cinematographer before, and we have a lot of other stuff to talk about, so I'm not going to spend that much time on them. This director was Norman Frederick Jewison. He was a Canadian filmmaker. He's known for directing films that address topical social and political issues. We know him from In the Heat of the Night, Moonstruck, Fiddler on the Roof, and Jesus Christ Superstar, which we have already done. The cinematographer was Oswald Norman Morris, who we saw previously with Great Muppet Caper. But like had a 6-decade career, like phenomenal work. We had 2 editors for this. This editing was shared by Anthony Gibbs and Robert Lawrence. Anthony Gibbs was an English filmmaker. He collaborated with directors like Norman Jewison quite frequently. He also worked with Tony Richardson, and he edited over 40 feature. He has over 40 feature film credits to his name. He was nominated for a BAFTA for editing 4 times, for the 1970 performance, for Fiddler on the Roof, for 1975 Rollerball, and 1977 A Bridge Too Far. He's also a 2-time Primetime Emmy Award winner, and he passed in 2016. The other editor was Robert Lawrence, a Canadian filmmaker who was nominated at the Oscars for the film, for editing the film Spartacus. And he passed in 2004. This is an older film. Our director and cinematographer have also passed.
Yes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the stage musical.
Yes.
And get a little bit into what was like it was honestly quite a faithful adaptation. So the stage musical, music by Jerry Bach, lyrics by Sheldon Harnick, and book by Joseph Stein. So it opened at the Imperial Theater in New York on September 22nd, 1964. So this was, like 6-7 years after that. Zero Mostel played Tevye, and B. Arthur was Yenta. Incredible casting. The play won the 1965 Tony Awards for Best Musical, Best Author, and Best Score. And it ran for 3,242 performances, which was a new record for the longest running show, passing Life with Father, which held the record for 25 years. Now, it held this record for almost 10 years until Grease surpassed its run. It is still at this point the 15th longest running show ever. It had 9 Tony Awards, and it had, at this point, 5 Broadway revivals and this film adaptation, and it's consistently touring. And it's also quite a popular musical, I think, for like community theater in high schools, because it's such a large cast.
Yeah.
Now, the writer, Joseph Stein, this was his biggest success, and he also wrote the screenplay for this film as well. He also wrote Alive and Kicking, Mr. Wonderful, Take Me Along, The Baker's Wife, Rags. He co-wrote with Carl Reiner the screenplay for the film adaptation of Enter Laughing, and obviously The Baker's Wife, which is the musical. Crazy musical, first of all, but it was nominated for an Olivier Award
recently.
Yeah, God, I was in that show. That is a interesting show. Anyway, so this film follows the stage pretty closely, and so I'm going to talk about like what was omitted, and Anna, you were going to talk about like what was added in. It retained almost all of the dialogue, but it did omit a few songs. So Now I Have Everything, The Rumor I Just Heard, parts of Tevia's Dream were omitted. There were some changes made to the song Tradition, but Fiddler scholar Jan Lisa Hutner argues that changes in American culture and politics and developments in the relationship with Israel led filmmakers to portray certain characters differently and offer a slightly different version of Anatevka. Specifically, and a huge change was the color palette of this. So they wanted this movie to feel more realistic. And so the color palette was very much browns and grays and whites and blacks. And whereas the stage production was a bit more colorful, which makes sense because, you know, you don't have a camera telling you where to look. And so you just have a lot of visual input all at once. The music and lyrics. So Jerry Bach was an American musical theater composer and received the Tony Award for Best Musical and Pulitzer Prize for Drama with Sheldon Harnick for their musical Fiorello. And then they worked together again on this Fiddler on the Roof. So Sheldon Harnick, American lyricist, and best known for his collaborations with Jerry Bach. For the actors and casting, I'm going to talk about Topol.
Yes. Wait, can I really quickly... Did I say at the beginning that I saw him? I did. I said at the very beginning of this, I saw him. Okay.
You also wanted to talk about let's just go ahead and chat in here, like, what were the scenes that were added? Yeah.
So there were 6 additional scenes added for the film. The constable receiving orders from his superior for the demonstration in Anatevka. Seeing Perchik get arrested at the workers' rally in Kyiv. Yeah. That scene inside the synagogue with the rabbi and his students when they receive the news of the new sewing machine. Yeah. Golda going to the priest to look for Hava and being confronted with the Christian images. Yeah. That scene of the rabbi taking the Torah out of the ark inside the synagogue when he leaves. Yeah. And then that scene in the barn where Tevye feeds his animals for the last time, where he like tells his horse to take care of his leg and treat his new master well. Yes. So all of those that it makes sense that they were like smaller aside scenes that took place in other locations.
And yeah, that makes sense where it's things that happen outside of either Tevye's home or outside scenes of the main square. Yeah. Interesting. Topol was 35 years old.
I know, they had to age him.
Which is crazy because he plays the age of like this old man age of, well, not old man, but like this middle-aged man so well. Yeah. He was only 11 years older than Seidel. Anyway,
that's crazy.
So
I didn't realize how young he was. I had seen something about how they added gray hairs from the director's beard
to his eyebrows.
Into his eyebrows. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's funny. Not realizing he was so young. Ooh, I just hit my desk.
He was
not realizing
incredibly
he was so
young. But he had such a groundedness to him and the physicality was so strong that it was just incredible. Anyway, so Chaim Topol. He's mononymously known as Topol, so we'll refer to him pretty much as that. And even in this movie, it is just the name.
He's
Topol.
credited as Topol.
Yes. He has played Tevye more than 3,500 times on stage from 1967 through 2009.
Yep. It was his last tour that I saw, I think, actually. It was like his last
2009.
The last tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I was in high school when I saw it. I was like 12, 13.
Something like that. So his first film appearance was in 1961 in the film I Like Mike, followed by the 1963 Israeli film El Dorado. But his breakthrough role came as the lead character in the 1964 film Salah Shabati. And again, a lot of this is, if I mispronounce anything, I apologize. I am doing my best. Topol was 29 at the time, but also playing like the family patriarch. And it was this performance that really drew attention to him as an actor that could play that sort of middle-aged, grounded man. So this film won the Golden Globe Award for Best Foreign Language Film, and he won the Golden Gate Award for Best Actor at the San Francisco International Film Festival. And he won the 1965 Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer. In 1966, he made his first English language film debut in the Mickey Marcus biopic Cast a Giant Shadow. But, of course, his biggest thing was his portrayal of Tevye, both on stage and on screen. So he first played this in an Israeli production of Fiddler on the Roof in 1966. So he started on stage. Now, Harold Prince, who is the producer of the original Fiddler on Broadway, saw him in Salah Shabati and called him to audition for the role of Tevye in the new production that was scheduled to open in London. Now, Topol was not fluent in English at the time, and so he memorized the score in English, listening to the original Broadway cast album, and practiced it with a friend of his who was a British native. He arrived to the audition, and Hal Prince was very surprised that this man was in his 30s because he fully thought that he was older based on his performance in Shabati.
Based on everything about you.
Based on everything about you. Topol explained, a good actor can play an old man, a sad face, a happy man. Makeup is not an obstacle. So he surprised the producers with his... Yeah. He surprised the producers with his familiarity with the staging, since he had already been in the Israeli production, and he was hired. So he spent 6 months in London learning his part phonetically with a vocal coach.
Oh my God.
Jerome Robbins, who was the director and the choreographer of the Broadway show, came over to direct the London production and sort of helped adjust slightly the character of Tevye for Topol, because Zero Mostel played a much more... over the top is not the right word that I want to use, but like characteristic. Like Zero Mostel was a character actor, so it was just like a bit louder. And so they redirected and like slightly changed a couple of things for Topol's slightly more grounded version of this character.
Do you want to know something funny about Jerome Robbins? Which is, he was, according to the internet, he was contractually obligated to be given an offer to direct the film of Fiddler on the Roof, but he had such a bad experience with West Side Story that he said no.
Oh no! That's so funny. Well, Norm Jewison did a great job.
Yeah.
So, for the casting of this film version, speaking of, Norm Jewison and his production team did not want Zero Mostel for the leading role because they were trying very hard to make this a realistic version, like I was talking about before with the color palette. It was a bit controversial because Mostel really wanted this part in the film, but they ended up going to London to see Topol's performance and ended up choosing him because it matched the tone of the movie that they were trying to do. This whole movie thing happens, which, you know, we've talked about. But for Topol, beyond this, he reprised his role of Tevye in 1983 in a revival of Fiddler on the Roof in London. In 89, he played the role in a 30-city U.S. touring production, which by then he was the actual age of the character. He commented, I didn't have to spend the energy playing the age. I could just be the age. In 1991, he starred again in the Broadway revival in the Gershwin Theater. In that production, Rosalind Harris, who had played Seidel in the film, played Golda, played his wife. Because they're only 11 years apart. So, you know, it's makes total sense, but they worked together again, but this time she was Golda. In 1991, he was nominated for a Tony Award for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical, but he lost to Jonathan Pryce in Miss Saigon. And then he played Tevye again in 1994 in a London revival, which became a touring production. And in that one, the role of one of his daughters was played by his own daughter, which was very cute.
Aww, I love that.
And he again continued touring, like I said before, through 2009. In 2015, he was honored by the chief rabbi of Ukraine and the Ukrainian Jewish community. His portrayal of Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof led to the inspiration for the Anatevka refugee village, which was named in commemoration of this village. So that was Topol.
So this film was a commercial success. It
Yes.
earned so much money, and it had a pretty small, had a decent sized budget. It had about an $8 million budget, but it has made so much money, and reviews have been always relatively positive. It's got an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's beloved. Some reviews were a little more critical that it was boring, but they made as good of a film out of the original source material as possible. What's interesting is you talked about the color palette, and that was some of the critiques. Like the New York Times said, like the film version is inferior by literalizing the setting, and they're saying like the show is a better version because they can make it like more imaginary. Like you can have a sparer stage and have a more like streamlined like stage production, and then your imagination fills in the rest, whereas by having it be like literal houses and barns and stuff, like it falls flat. I disagree, but like it's a difference of having like a very lived in set versus having a very bare bones set, and some people are gonna like one, some people are gonna like the other. It won and like so many awards,
really allowing the reality of the history to feel more aggressive. And maybe that's a part of it where it's like, hey, they're being forced from their homes, and it feels worse because you can see the village and it's not a set.
Yeah. But also, some critics will say that like by putting it in such a literal set, it is creating a time capsule, whereas like you're losing some of like the
It is a time capsule.
Lingering.
What do you mean?
It is a time capsule.
That's like saying Sound of Music is in a time capsule. It's very specifically affected by the world events that are happening around them. Those people are dumb.
Very true.
Anyway, continue. I'm so sorry I interrupted.
No, it's totally okay.
What do you mean?
Other films in theaters that year were big ones like A Clockwork Orange, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, The Last Picture Show. But this did fiscally very, very well. It won a lot of awards. And that's all I'm going to say. Because we have so much more to talk about. You want to talk about some singing?
Singing. And dancing.
Singing. And so much dancing. Oh, we haven't had some good dancing in a while. And we had...
I know.
Multiple instances of dancing.
Yes. The main ones, obviously, were the wedding and then also To Life.
Yeah, To Life and the wedding.
To Life, I really loved, like, it was such a good combination.
I'm sorry,
of
I'm
two...
going to loop in the Fruma Sarah song as dancing because there was choreography in that with
That's
the
true.
tombstones.
From
Sarah.
From her husband. And I loved the combination of two traditional forms of dance into one unifying moment. That was so lovely and really well done, of like the very classic hands grasped, like walking dance of the Jewish faith, and then also the Russian like knee quick step dance in between them as they're walking.
There's a proper name for it.
There are proper names.
The knee dance, because
I was raised very non-religious from any side.
Both of us.
Please believe that I would be equally confused towards Christianity.
Towards both sides.
But Yeah, I loved that. And the singing was lovely.
The singing was lovely. The only critique I have for the singing is specifically with the song Matchmaker, Matchmaker. Because it's really one of our first biggest songs. And it felt, and I think this was the director, really pared back. And like whatever acting styles on film were at the time.
Right.
Like I feel like I got so much more emotion from every other song, from Topol, from Golda, from fucking Motul in and Hodel. Like we got so much more, and that is the sisters' like only true song together. Yeah. And it just felt really dampened.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the song that I think about, you know? And I think that's its own commentary, where it's like there's so many good songs in this show, but the ones that really affected us were, you know, Modal's song and Do You Love Me and Far From the Home I Love. And it's just, I think Matchmaker is probably
I just know
the
what
song
Matchmaker
within this
can
movie.
Be.
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
felt the
disappointed
least
with how it was
connected,
depicted.
I guess. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That's my little critique about
Beyond
it.
that,
I loved the singing.
The voices were all lovely. Like, Topol has an incredible baritone.
And I think the thing that really succeeds with this film for me with the singing is that it felt, with the exception of Matchmaker, which we've already discussed, it felt 100% representative of the characters and the world. No one was just like, I'm sorry, I love Howard Keel, but it's sometimes a little jarring when he starts singing and someone's not quite there technique-wise or just like not of the world, and everyone's voice is like, the woman who played Golda, I'm like, she wasn't an amazing singer, but it felt very appropriate for the character. No one was out here showing off. Everyone's voice was very appropriate for the character. It makes me think of that one girl in Annie who was like, yeah. No one was like that.
Right.
And that's
everyone
a good
blended.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Blended and was like belonged in this film.
Yeah. Everyone felt really grounded, and it was lovely.
Yeah, grounded's a really good word for it.
And again, God, the fucking bottle dance, that's my homework. Lives in my head rent free forever. Okay.
I've updated my homework because it's going to be what it is. It's a YouTube video of a couple different clips of songs from like the preview reading of the 2015 revival. That you get a little bit of Matchmaker. You get a little bit of If I Were a Rich Man. It's Danny Burstein as Topol. Danny Burstein as Tevye. And you get a little bit of God Has Made a Man Today song. Miracle of Miracles. You get a little bit of that too. And that's Adam Cantor. And it's so good. Okay. Do you have any gripes?
Gripes, giggles, moments of joy. I was trying to think of gripes.
I don't think I have any.
I don't super have any, I'll be honest, because I really liked the reality. It felt like I was talking about with Sound of Music. It really put it in the time period in which this story is being told and in which the events are being affected, you know?
Look in my notes. Typically my gripes, my favorite gripes are the ones that actually have to do with like not even like an actual problem with the film, but it's like an anachronistic thing of like, you walked out that door and I know that's where that door does not lead. Like,
that's
shit
not
like
where that goes. But they built a town, so it's kind of hard for them to do that.
Yeah.
Moments of joy. I really loved Do You Love Me? Like, God, it just like, it hit so much harder. Like the soft, quiet love was so beautiful, and like watching these two people who had like raised a family together finally acknowledging like their feelings for each other was so beautiful, and it just felt very adult and grounded and wonderful. My giggles were mostly Yenta. I thought she was so fucking funny. It's like, am I right? Of course I'm right.
Of course I'm right. My giggles were
the letter was open. Bring it up with the mailman. Like,
yes, yeah. Topol's asides always got me.
Yes.
I don't have any gripes. My moment of joy, I don't know. I don't remember. I think this is a characteristic of being someone in their 20s pursuing musical theater, but I never really paid attention to the male characters because I was always like, who am I going to play? I love Motol. I love Motol. I love his art.
Wonder of Wonder was just such a wonderful song. God.
I love it. I love his character so much. So he's just my whole moment of joy.
Yeah, 100%. I have a lot of joy in and like what we were talking about, where despite the fact that it ends in such a tragic, again, sad but hopeful, in such a place, there's so many moments of joy and light and laughter throughout this, which is also part of the reason why I, as a young person, was like, I only want to watch Act 1 because that's the part that makes me happy. But also
for a show that is inevitably doomed. Yeah, for much like Hadestown, we're going to tell the story again, and maybe it's going to be different this time. So many of the songs in this show are so joyous.
Because you got to feel the joy to feel the sadness. Yeah. I mean, Romeo and Juliet was a comedy right up until it wasn't. Do you have fun facts?
I do. I didn't before, and I talked about the Jerome. Okay, I had 3. I've talked about Jerome Robbins.
Okay.
I still have 3.
Okay, I have 2.
Okay. I'll go first, which is, this is a very short fun fact, which is simply that at the same time that this was out in theaters or being released in theaters, you know who was playing Tevye? Guess. You're not going to guess.
Howard
Leonard
Keel.
Nimoy.
No. Oh, Leonard Nimoy!
I was just like, oh man.
Hell yeah.
If I had a time machine.
Oh boy.
I'd
There's
go
so
back
many
and see
theater.
Leonard Nimoy.
There's so much theater.
There's
so much theater I could see.
All right, what's your first fun fact?
So this one's very silly. So, contrary to his family name Jewison, our director was born to Methodist parents, but he and Topol had a running joke that he would convert to Judaism and call himself Norman Christensen.
It's so funny. I did see that fun fact and I loved that. My second fun fact is that when our director went to scout film locations in the year prior to shooting, it had snowed. It had snowed like up to his knees. Ew. However, when they returned the following year, it didn't snow like the whole winter. Like there was very little snow. So what we actually see in the movie is marble dust to be that like dusting of snow. Like there was no
better than asbestos.
Better than asbestos. But the actress that played Yenta, Molly Piken, wrote to a friend of her experience filming this because it was extremely cold. She had to deal with the biting cold of her night scenes, which involved she had to buy long johns, sweaters, and carried a little flask of whiskey.
That'll warm you right up.
That'll warm you right up.
So my last fun fact is about the horse going lame. So the plot point about Tevye's horse going lame and him pulling his own cart around is because it was a stage show first. Because there was no way for them to use a real horse, and they weren't about to do a whole Milky White puppet situation. So he always makes the entrance pulling his cart himself, because on stage, that's just not an option. And so they paid reference to that in the movie.
Give me started a horse with the horse. Stage.
Yeah, he started with the horse, but then quickly the horse could no longer be used. I just thought that was a very funny, like, stagecraft moment.
They gave us the horse to, like, get that emotional hook in us so that they could then have that scene at the end where they're like, be good to your new master. My last fun fact is about the actor who played Perchik. Perchik was played by the actor Paul Michael Glaser, who later rose to fame as Detective Starsky in Starsky and Hutch.
No way! I didn't know that.
He was 27 when he read for the audition and was worried because Perchik's supposed to be only 17. But when he met with the director, he Glazer and Jewison agreed that, like, you're too old for this part. But he auditioned anyway, and after hearing him read and sending him for a screen test, he was offered the part.
Oh, incredible.
I could tell
Was
he
he
was
the Italian actor, or was that Fiedka? One of the...
That was probably
either
Fiedka.
Perchik or Fiedka. They were like, oh, this is just like an Italian guy.
Let me look that up, but I'm gonna guess it's Fiedka because, yeah, not a very Italian name. Raymond Lovelock was an Italian actor and musician known for his genre films, and so he played Fiddler.
Yeah.
Is that all she wrote? I talked about my Jerome Robbins fact already.
I think that's all she wrote. Oh, my homework's the wedding dance sequence with the bottle.
Yeah.
Whole deal.
My homework's the 2015 staged reading.
Preview reading.
Oh,
Perfect.
it's so good. It's not a reading. It's a clip of the reading.
Of the, yeah.
And so you can see
Wow.
what Matchmaker Matchmaker can be. Oh my God. 2 hours and some change. Well, if you're still with us, holy moly. I don't know how long this is going to be. We're going to have to split it up. But thank you so much for joining us on this journey, this beautiful film. We love doing this.
Yes.
This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. I've been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Take care of yourselves and others. We'll see you on the next one, and we are getting so close to episode 100!
Which I have something very special planned.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.